The Empire's overconfidence. In the vast reaches of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire was known as a force to be reckoned with. Their fleets roamed the stars, and their power seemed unstoppable. They had conquered countless worlds, leaving a trail of destruction and submission. The Empire's leaders, perched in their luxurious command centers, had grown arrogant and complacent. They believed their dominance was unshakable. One day, the Empire set its sights on a new target: Earth. From their advanced starships and high-tech command posts, Earth looked like an easy conquest. The Empire scouts had reported that Earth was a backwater world, technologically outdated and insignificant. The Empire's generals and admirals scoffed at the idea of facing any real challenge from such a small, seemingly primitive planet. "We'll crush them in no time," one general declared confidently. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. It will be a walk in the park." The Empire's leaders, secure in their own superiority, paid little attention to Earth's defenses. They had encountered and defeated countless worlds with far greater technology, and Earth's defenses seemed laughably obsolete in comparison. They dismissed reports of Earth's hidden strengths as mere exaggerations. The Empire's intelligence officers, eager to impress their superiors, had painted a picture of Earth as a weak and defenseless target. The invasion plans were quickly put into motion. Massive fleets of Empire starships were assembled, their sleek forms cutting through space toward Earth. The Empire's armada was equipped with the most advanced weaponry and technology, and their ships bristled with weapons designed to overwhelm any opposition. Their leaders were confident that their arrival would be met with little more than surrender. As the Empire's fleet approached Earth, they sent a single broadcast to the planet, a message filled with contempt and arrogance. It was a declaration of intent, a challenge that was meant to intimidate and demoralize. The message was clear: prepare for your inevitable defeat. The Galactic Empire does not tolerate defiance. On Earth, the broadcast was received with a mixture of shock and disbelief. Many on the planet had grown complacent themselves, accustomed to a period of relative peace and isolation. They had no idea of the danger that was approaching. The Empire's message was a rude awakening, a stark reminder of the outside threats they had long forgotten. The Empire's ships began their assault, unleashing a barrage of energy weapons and missiles upon Earth's surface. Cities were targeted, and massive explosions rocked the planet. The Empire's strategy was to quickly crush any resistance and force a rapid surrender. They believed their overwhelming firepower would break Earth's will and bring about a swift victory. But as the attacks continued, something unexpected happened. Earth's defenders, though initially taken by surprise, began to respond. Hidden within the ruins of their cities were remnants of advanced technology, long thought to be obsolete. The humans had been quietly preparing for this day, holding on to their old technology and knowledge, even as they lived in a state of apparent stagnation. Despite the Empire's initial success, the humans started to fight back. Earth's defenses, though not as advanced as the Empire's, were not as weak as the invaders had assumed. The humans rallied, using every available resource to resist the invasion. The Empire's leaders, still confident in their victory, began to notice a shift. The humans were not breaking as easily as expected, and the resistance began to take a toll on their forces. The Empire's arrogance, once their greatest strength, now started to become their greatest weakness. Their overconfidence had led them to underestimate their opponent, and the consequences were beginning to unfold. As the battle continued, it became clear that the Empire's easy victory was not going to be as straightforward as they had imagined. This was just the beginning of a conflict that would test the limits of both sides. The Empire's initial triumph was fading, and the real struggle was only just beginning. Earth's unexpected resistance was about to reveal that underestimating humanity had been a critical mistake, one that the Empire would soon come to regret deeply. Earth's hidden strength. As the Galactic Empire's fleet rained destruction upon Earth, the planet's defenders scrambled to respond. The initial shock of the invasion had given way to a determined resolve. What the Empire had seen as a weak and outdated world was now revealing a different side. Hidden beneath the surface of Earth's cities and forgotten landscapes were remnants of an ancient, powerful technology. The Empire had underestimated Earth's potential. For decades, humanity had been quietly holding onto its technological legacy. After years of isolation and limited contact with the outside universe, Earth's people had become experts in repurposing old technology. Even though they had lived in relative peace, they never fully discarded their advanced tools and knowledge. They had been waiting for the right moment to use them. In underground bunkers and secret facilities, engineers and scientists had been secretly maintaining and upgrading the old technology. These were the same machines and systems that had once been at the forefront of human advancement. Now they were being reactivated, bringing a surge of old-world strength to the fight against the Empire. One of the key locations was the old military headquarters in a city that had long since fallen into disrepair. The facility, hidden from view, had been preserved and protected. Within its walls, human engineers worked tirelessly to prepare the old technology for battle. Powerful energy weapons, once considered obsolete, were refurbished and brought back to life. Defense systems that had been dormant for years were reactivated and put into operation. As the Empire's ships continued their bombardment, the first signs of Earth's hidden strength began to emerge. Out of nowhere, the invaders faced a new kind of resistance. The old energy shields, once thought powerless, now deflected their attacks with surprising efficiency. Counterattacks from Earth's ground forces started to hit their targets with precision, causing damage that the Empire had not anticipated. The Empire's commanders were baffled. Their initial scans had detected no significant defensive capabilities, but now they were facing unexpected resistance. They could see the damage being inflicted on their ships and facilities, and it became clear that Earth was not as defenseless as they had assumed. In the chaos of battle, humanity's tactical ingenuity began to shine. Earth's defenders were not only using their old technology effectively, but also employing clever strategies that took the Empire by surprise. They set traps and ambushes, exploiting the Empire's overconfidence. The once easy conquest was now turning into a grueling fight. The Empire's leaders, still confident in their victory, dismissed the unexpected resistance as a minor inconvenience. They ordered their forces to intensify their attacks, believing that the human defenses would soon crumble under the pressure. But as the battles continued, the Empire began to realize that Earth's hidden strength was far more significant than they had initially believed. The tide of the conflict began to shift. With each passing day, Earth's forces became more organized and effective. The invaders were forced to adapt their strategies, something they had not anticipated when they planned their invasion. The Empire's overconfidence was beginning to erode as the realization sank in that they were facing a much tougher opponent than expected. This hidden strength of Earth, once lying dormant, was now a formidable force. Humanity's determination and resilience were matched by their rediscovered technology, making them a challenging adversary for the Empire. The initial ease of the Empire's victory was being replaced by a drawn-out and difficult conflict. The Galactic Empire's leaders began to worry. What they had thought would be a simple conquest had turned into a complex and costly war. The hidden strength of Earth had changed the dynamics of the invasion, setting the stage for a protracted struggle that would test the limits of both sides. The true fight was only just beginning, and the Empire's initial triumph was fading with every passing moment. The invasion begins. The Galactic Empire's armada loomed ominously in the dark expanse of space, their massive warships glinting with deadly intent. The Empire had prepared meticulously for this invasion, confident that their advanced technology and overwhelming firepower would crush Earth's defenses with ease. The fleet, a formidable display of might, was ready to execute the next phase of their grand plan. As the invasion began, the Empire's ships descended upon Earth, their powerful engines roaring as they entered the planet's atmosphere. From the surface, people watched in horror as the sky filled with the imposing silhouettes of the Empire's fleet. The once peaceful sky was now a battlefield, marked by streaks of energy weapons and the flash of incoming missiles. The first wave of attacks was swift and brutal. The Empire's warships unleashed a torrent of laser beams and explosive projectiles, targeting Earth's major cities and military installations. The sky was lit up with explosions as buildings crumbled and fires erupted. The Empire's goal was clear: to cause maximum destruction and force Earth into surrender. On the ground, chaos reigned. Emergency services scrambled to respond to the devastation, while military forces raced to mount a defense. The initial shock of the Empire's assault left many stunned and disoriented. However, the reality of the invasion quickly set in, and humanity's defenders rallied to protect their homes. Despite the Empire's overwhelming firepower, Earth's defenders began to regroup. The old technology that had been hidden away for years was suddenly being put to use. Energy shields, once considered obsolete, were reactivated to fend off the Empire's relentless bombardment. Ground forces, equipped with refurbished weapons and advanced tactics, began to counterattack. In the heart of the Empire's command ship, the invasion's progress was monitored with growing frustration. The Empire's commanders had expected a quick victory, but the resistance from Earth was proving more tenacious than anticipated. The initial reports of destruction were offset by the growing realization that the invaders were facing a determined and resilient foe. The battles that followed were fierce and chaotic. The Empire's ships, while technologically superior, found themselves facing an unexpected challenge. Earth's defenders, though initially overwhelmed, began to adapt their strategies. They used guerrilla tactics and made clever use of the terrain to strike at the Empire's forces. The Empire's commanders, accustomed to victories without significant opposition, struggled to adapt to the new situation. They ordered their forces to press the attack harder, hoping to break through Earth's defenses with sheer force. However, this approach only served to escalate the conflict, leading to more intense and costly engagements. On the ground, the fighting was relentless. Soldiers and civilians alike joined the effort to push back the Empire's invaders. The air was thick with the sounds of battle. Explosions, gunfire, and the cries of those fighting for their homes. The resilience of Earth's people was becoming evident, and the initial expectation of a swift and easy conquest was fading fast. As the days went by, the Empire's leaders began to realize that their invasion was not going according to plan. The resistance from Earth was stronger and more coordinated than they had anticipated. What they had thought would be a simple operation was quickly turning into a protracted and bloody conflict. The Empire's fleet continued its assault, but the unexpected strength of Earth's defenses began to take a toll. The Empire's commanders were forced to reconsider their strategies and adapt to the realities of the fight. What had started as an assured victory for the Galactic Empire was now evolving into a grueling and uncertain struggle. The invasion had begun with a display of overwhelming power, but the true challenge lay ahead. Earth's unexpected resistance was reshaping the conflict, turning what should have been an easy conquest into a battle that would test the Empire's strength and resolve. The real fight was just getting started, and the outcome was far from certain. Earth fights back. The skies over Earth were ablaze with the light of battle. The Galactic Empire's fleet continued to rain destruction on cities and military bases, but the humans were no longer just defending. They were fighting back. What had started as a desperate struggle for survival was quickly becoming a coordinated counterattack. Earth was showing its true strength. In underground bunkers and secret command centers, Earth's military leaders began to regroup. The initial shock of the invasion had passed, and now the focus was on strategy. Communications were reestablished, and old alliances were rekindled. The Earth Defense Forces, which had been scattered and disorganized at the start of the attack, were now coming together to form a united front. One of the most important developments was the reactivation of Earth's old defense systems. Advanced technology, thought to be outdated or forgotten, was brought back online. Hidden beneath cities and in remote locations were powerful weapons that had been left dormant for decades. These weapons, though old, still packed a punch, and they were now being used to target the Empire's ships. The first major victory came when one of the Empire's largest warships, a massive battleship that had been leading the assault, was hit by a barrage of Earth's energy weapons. The ship's shields flickered, unable to withstand the concentrated firepower, and moments later, the battleship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The sight of the massive ship's destruction sent a wave of hope through Earth's defenders. On the ground, human soldiers were fighting with everything they had. They used the terrain to their advantage, setting up ambushes and traps for the Empire's ground forces. In the forests, mountains, and even the streets of cities, Earth's fighters engaged the invaders in guerrilla warfare. The humans were fewer in number and lacked the advanced armor and weapons of the Empire's troops, but they made up for it with courage and cunning. In one key battle, a small group of human resistance fighters managed to outsmart a squad of Empire soldiers. Using knowledge of the local terrain, they lured the enemy into a narrow canyon, where they set off a series of explosives that collapsed the walls, trapping the Empire's soldiers inside. The victory was small, but it was a symbol of Earth's fighting spirit. No matter the odds, they would not go down without a fight. Meanwhile, in space, the human fleet was also making its presence known. Old warships, once thought too ancient to be useful, were being reactivated and sent into battle. These ships, retrofitted with newer technology, were still no match for the Empire's advanced fleet, but they were proving to be a thorn in the side of the invaders. With every battle, the humans became more coordinated, more determined, and more dangerous. The Empire, which had been so confident in its victory, was beginning to feel the strain. Reports of unexpected resistance were flooding in from all sides. The humans were hitting back harder than expected, and the Empire's forces were taking more casualties than they had planned for. What was supposed to be a quick and easy conquest was turning into a long and costly war. Earth's people, united by the threat of extinction, were showing incredible resilience. Civilians volunteered to help in any way they could, whether it was in rebuilding damaged infrastructure, providing medical aid to the wounded, or even joining the fight themselves. The entire planet was rallying together, determined to defend their home against the invaders. As the battles raged on, the Galactic Empire's commanders began to realize that their biggest mistake had been underestimating humanity. Earth's forces were proving that they had more fight in them than anyone could have imagined. The invasion, which had once seemed so certain to succeed, was now at risk of failure. The tide of the war was slowly starting to turn. Earth's counterattacks were becoming more frequent, more powerful, and more effective. The humans were no longer just defending their cities. They were taking the fight to the Empire. With each passing day, the invaders were pushed back a little further, their losses mounting. Humanity's resilience was on full display. Earth was not just surviving. It was fighting back with a ferocity that the Empire had never anticipated. The Galactic Empire, once so sure of its victory, was now facing the grim reality that Earth would not fall easily. The fight was far from over. But one thing was clear: Earth would not go down without a fight, and its people would do whatever it took to defend their planet. The turning point. The war between Earth and the Galactic Empire had raged for weeks, with battles fought in the skies, across cities, and deep in space. The Galactic Empire, once confident in its superiority, was now facing unexpected setbacks. The humans were fighting with a tenacity the Empire had never encountered before. Now, the conflict was reaching a critical moment, the turning point that would decide the fate of Earth. In the early days of the invasion, the Empire had been certain of victory. Their fleets were equipped with the most advanced technology, their soldiers were battle-hardened, and their strategy was simple: overwhelm Earth's defenses and force a swift surrender. But as the war dragged on, the Empire's leaders began to see their plan unravel. Earth's hidden strength and relentless counterattacks had thrown the invasion into chaos. At the heart of the resistance was Earth's newly formed alliance of military leaders and brilliant minds. They had been working around the clock to turn the tide of the war. Deep in a secure bunker, these leaders developed a bold plan that could change everything. They had discovered a weakness in the Empire's fleet, a vulnerability in the massive warships that had been bombarding Earth's cities. If they could exploit this weakness, they could cripple the Empire's forces and turn the tide of the entire war. The plan was risky, but Earth's defenders knew that this was their chance. The strategy called for a coordinated strike on the Empire's flagship, the Invictus, a massive battleship that served as the nerve center of the Empire's operations. Taking out the Invictus would throw the Empire into disarray, cutting off their command and giving Earth the opportunity to go on the offensive. The mission to attack the Invictus was assigned to a small team of Earth's best pilots and soldiers. These brave men and women would be flying retrofitted human spacecraft, armed with the last of Earth's experimental weapons. Their target was the ship's main reactor, hidden deep within its heavily armored hull. If they could hit it, the explosion would be enough to destroy the entire ship. As the team prepared for the mission, tension filled the air. The odds were against them. The Invictus was heavily guarded, and the Empire's fleet was still powerful. But the human pilots knew they had no choice. This mission could be the turning point of the war, and failure was not an option. In the dead of night, the human fleet launched its assault. The Invictus loomed in the distance, surrounded by smaller warships and fighter escorts. The human ships weaved through enemy fire, dodging laser blasts and missiles as they closed in on their target. The Empire's ships, caught off guard by the boldness of the attack, scrambled to defend their flagship. As the battle raged in space, Earth's forces on the ground launched simultaneous strikes on key Empire outposts. Soldiers and resistance fighters attacked with renewed vigor, knowing that the success of the mission in space could turn the tide of the entire war. Explosions lit up the night sky as Earth's defenders pushed back against the invaders. In space, the human strike team fought its way through the Empire's defenses. One by one, their ships were damaged or destroyed, but the team pressed on. Finally, they reached the Invictus. With the last of their energy, they targeted the weak spot in the ship's armor, the reactor core. The lead pilot locked on and fired. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then, a massive explosion ripped through the Invictus, engulfing it in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave from the blast sent the surrounding ships spiraling out of control. The Empire's flagship, once a symbol of their unstoppable power, was reduced to rubble in an instant. On the ground, the news spread like wildfire. Earth had destroyed the Invictus. Cheers erupted across the planet as humanity realized what had just happened. The turning point had come. The Empire, shocked by the loss of their flagship, began to retreat. Without the Invictus to coordinate their attacks, their forces were in disarray. Earth's defenders seized the moment, launching a full-scale counteroffensive that drove the invaders further back. The destruction of the Invictus marked the turning point in the war. Humanity, once on the brink of defeat, now stood a chance of victory. The Empire had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. For the first time since the invasion began, hope flickered in the hearts of Earth's people. The fight was far from over, but the tide had turned, and humanity was ready to finish the battle. The Empire's desperate measures. The destruction of the Invictus sent shockwaves through the Galactic Empire. Earth, a planet they had thought would fall quickly, had just obliterated their flagship, shattering the confidence of the Empire's fleet. With their command structure in chaos, the once mighty Galactic Empire found itself struggling to maintain control of the invasion. But they weren't ready to give up. Desperation had set in, and in their panic, the Empire's leaders began to consider extreme measures to crush the human resistance. In the Empire's high command, a tense meeting was taking place on a remaining dreadnought, the Resolute. The Empire's top commanders, grim-faced and furious, discussed their next steps. They couldn't afford to lose to a planet they had deemed primitive. Losing Earth would mean losing their reputation as an invincible force in the galaxy. Their empire, built on fear and domination, was at risk of crumbling if the rest of the galaxy saw Earth's success. "We must act swiftly," growled Admiral Virik, one of the most feared commanders in the Empire. His sharp eyes scanned the room, his face dark with anger. "We cannot let Earth's victory stand. We have only one option left. We use the Planet Killer." A hushed silence fell over the room. The Planet Killer was a devastating weapon, capable of wiping out entire planets in a single strike. It was a forbidden weapon, only meant to be used in the most extreme circumstances. Its power was too great, and even the Empire feared its consequences. But now, backed into a corner by Earth's growing strength, the Empire's commanders were willing to unleash it. "The Planet Killer?" questioned one of the younger officers. "But if we use it, the galaxy will never forgive us. Other planets might rise against us. We'll be seen as monsters." Admiral Virik's cold gaze settled on the officer. "We already are monsters. The galaxy fears us for a reason. We need to remind them of that fear. Earth has pushed us into a corner. This is our last chance to win." The decision was made. The Empire's forces would unleash the Planet Killer on Earth. They would turn the planet to ashes, destroying everything in a single, terrifying strike. To them, it was a simple solution: eliminate the humans and end the war before it spiraled any further out of their control. But the Empire underestimated Earth once again. As they prepared to deploy their ultimate weapon, Earth's intelligence forces intercepted communications about the Planet Killer. The news sent shockwaves through Earth's command centers. They had just achieved a major victory by destroying the Invictus, but now they faced the threat of total annihilation. In one of Earth's underground bunkers, General Morgan sat with his team, staring at the grim reports. "If they use the Planet Killer," he said, his voice heavy, "it's over. We can't survive that kind of attack. We have to stop them before they deploy it." Earth's forces sprang into action. Using the last of their resources, they prepared a desperate mission to take out the Planet Killer before it could be activated. The device was being held on the Resolute, one of the Empire's most well-guarded ships. Earth's commanders knew it would be a suicide mission to send their forces directly against such a powerful warship, but they had no choice. The survival of the entire planet depended on this mission. A small, elite team of human soldiers and pilots was selected for the operation. They were tasked with infiltrating the Resolute, disabling the Planet Killer, and escaping before the Empire could retaliate. Each member of the team knew the odds were slim. The Planet Killer was heavily protected, and the Resolute had some of the most advanced defenses in the Empire's fleet. But humanity had always thrived in impossible situations, and this was no different. As the mission launched, Earth's forces staged a large-scale attack on the Empire's remaining fleet, drawing attention away from the infiltration team. The skies above Earth lit up with the flashes of battle, as human ships clashed with the Empire's war machines. On the ground, resistance fighters continued to sabotage the Empire's outposts, weakening their grip on the planet. The infiltration team, using the chaos as cover, slipped through the Empire's defenses and boarded the Resolute. They fought their way through the ship, racing against time to reach the Planet Killer before it could be activated. The battle inside the ship was brutal, with human soldiers taking heavy losses as they pushed deeper into the heart of the enemy vessel. Finally, the team reached the control room. With only moments to spare, they managed to sabotage the Planet Killer's systems, rendering it useless. But their victory came at a heavy cost. Many of the team members sacrificed their lives to ensure that Earth would survive. The destruction of the Planet Killer sent a wave of panic through the Empire's ranks. Their last, desperate measure had failed. Earth had once again proven that they could not be easily defeated. The Empire's leaders, now fully aware that their invasion was falling apart, began to retreat, pulling their forces back from the planet. The tide of war had turned, and for the first time, the Galactic Empire was truly on the defensive. The final battle. The Galactic Empire's fleet, once a symbol of unbeatable power, was now weakened and retreating. Earth had struck a series of devastating blows, from destroying the Invictus to stopping the planet killer. But the war wasn't over yet. The Empire, though wounded, still had enough strength to launch one final desperate attack. They knew that if they didn't crush Earth now, their hold on the galaxy would be shattered forever. Earth's defenders, though battered, were ready. In secret meetings deep underground, military leaders and scientists finalized their plans for what would be the final battle. It was clear to everyone involved that this would be the fight that decided the fate of Earth. Victory meant survival. Defeat meant total annihilation. Across the planet, preparations began. Every soldier, pilot, and civilian who could contribute was called upon. Factories churned out the last of Earth's remaining weapons, and volunteers worked tirelessly to fortify defenses in major cities and hidden bases. The people of Earth knew they were fighting for their very existence, and that knowledge fueled their resolve. The atmosphere was tense, but there was hope. Hope that this battle would finally end the nightmare of the invasion. The Empire's fleet gathered in orbit above Earth, led by their second flagship, the Imperator. Though smaller than the Invictus, the Imperator was still a formidable warship, armed with the most advanced weapons the Empire had. It would be the spearhead of their final assault. With it, the Empire planned to crush Earth's remaining defenses and bring the planet to its knees. On the ground, Earth's forces made their final preparations. General Morgan, now a symbol of human resistance, stood at the front lines, rallying the troops. "This is it," he said, his voice calm but filled with conviction. "We fought long and hard for this moment. The Empire thinks they can break us, but they don't understand who they're dealing with. Today, we show them that Earth will never fall." The final battle began with a deafening roar. The Empire unleashed a barrage of orbital strikes, targeting Earth's key military installations and cities. Explosions rocked the planet as buildings crumbled and fires raged. But Earth's defenses were ready. Anti-orbital cannons fired back at the Empire's ships, filling the sky with bright streaks of energy as they fought to take down the invaders. In space, Earth's fleet, though smaller and less advanced than the Empire's, launched a daring counterattack. The human ships, many of them retrofitted with scavenged alien technology, darted between the Empire's larger warships, firing missiles and lasers at weak points in the enemy's armor. The Empire, caught off guard by the intensity of Earth's response, struggled to maintain control of the battle. The Imperator led the charge, its massive cannons firing relentlessly at Earth's ships. But Earth's forces were not easily cowed. A group of human fighters, led by the pilot Captain Avery, broke through the Empire's defensive line and made a direct run at the Imperator. Dodging heavy fire, Avery's squadron managed to strike the ship's shields, weakening them with each hit. The Imperator shook under the assault, but it wasn't enough to bring it down. On the ground, Earth's soldiers were engaged in fierce combat with the Empire's ground forces. In cities and forests, human resistance fighters ambushed Empire troops, using guerrilla tactics to outmaneuver their technologically superior enemies. The Empire's soldiers, expecting an easy victory, found themselves bogged down in brutal urban warfare. Every street became a battleground, every building a fortress. The people of Earth fought with everything they had. Back in space, Captain Avery and his squadron prepared for one final assault on the Imperator. With most of their ships damaged or destroyed, the mission seemed impossible. But Avery knew that this was Earth's last chance. As his squadron closed in on the Imperator, he ordered his remaining ships to focus all firepower on the ship's central reactor, the weak point that could bring the giant warship down. The Imperator, sensing the threat, unleashed a flurry of defensive fire, destroying several human ships in the process. But Avery's ship broke through, launching a final barrage of missiles. The impact was direct. The reactor exploded in a massive burst of energy, tearing the Imperator apart from the inside. The explosion sent a shockwave through space, and the remaining Empire ships, leaderless and disorganized, began to fall back. Earth's fleet, though heavily damaged, pursued the retreating ships, refusing to give the invaders a chance to regroup. On the ground, the news of the Imperator's destruction spread quickly. Cheers erupted from Earth's soldiers and civilians alike. The Empire's forces, now in full retreat, were being pushed out of the cities and back into their landing zones. The invaders, who had once thought themselves invincible, were now fleeing in desperation. The final battle had been won. Earth had stood its ground, defying the Galactic Empire's might. Though the war had taken a heavy toll, humanity had proven that they were far from defeated. Against all odds, Earth had survived the invasion, and the Galactic Empire had suffered a crushing defeat that would echo across the galaxy. The Empire falls. The defeat of the Imperator marked the beginning of the end for the Galactic Empire. What had started as a confident invasion of Earth had turned into a complete disaster. The loss of their two flagships, the Invictus and the Imperator, shattered the Empire's military power and crippled their ability to fight. As the Empire's forces retreated from Earth, panic spread throughout their ranks, and the once mighty Galactic Empire began to unravel. News of the Empire's defeat at the hands of humanity spread quickly across the galaxy. For centuries, the Empire had ruled with an iron fist, subjugating countless planets and civilizations under their control. They were feared and respected, but now, after their failure to conquer Earth, that fear began to crumble. Planets that had been too afraid to resist the Empire saw a glimmer of hope in Earth's victory. If humanity could stand up to the Empire and win, maybe they could too. In the heart of the Empire, on the capital planet Zethar, the Emperor's Council gathered in a state of chaos. The Empire's leadership, once confident in their dominance, now faced a harsh reality. Their fleets were in disarray, their soldiers demoralized, and rebellions were starting to erupt on planets that had long been under their control. The Empire was falling apart, and they knew it. "We underestimated them," one of the high-ranking officials said during the heated council meeting. "We thought Earth would be an easy conquest, but we've lost two of our greatest ships, and our forces are scattered. If we don't act quickly, we'll lose everything." The Emperor, an aging figure with a cold gaze, sat at the head of the table, silently listening to his advisors argue. He knew the situation was dire. Earth had exposed the Empire's weaknesses for all to see, and now planets across the galaxy were rising in rebellion. Even some of the Empire's own military commanders were starting to question their loyalty. The Emperor had ruled through fear, but fear only worked when there was strength to back it up. Now that strength was fading. "We need to rally what's left of our fleet," another advisor said. "Crush these uprisings before they spread further. We cannot allow this rebellion to continue." But it was already too late. Across the galaxy, planets that had been under the Empire's control for generations were rising up. They saw Earth's victory as a sign that the Empire could be defeated, and they refused to live under its tyranny any longer. The Empire's remaining forces were stretched thin, trying to put down rebellions in multiple sectors. They simply didn't have the numbers to maintain control anymore. On Earth, the mood was one of cautious celebration. Humanity had survived the invasion, but they knew the Empire wasn't finished yet. Earth's leaders, including General Morgan, were preparing for the possibility of another attack. But as reports came in from across the galaxy, it became clear that the Empire had far bigger problems than launching another assault on Earth. Rebellions were breaking out on nearly every planet under the Empire's rule. From industrial worlds to agricultural colonies, people were rising up, throwing off the chains of the Empire's control. In some places, local military commanders defected, joining the rebels in their fight for freedom. In others, the Empire's soldiers were overwhelmed by the sheer number of civilians taking up arms against them. Earth's victory had sparked a fire that was now burning across the entire galaxy. As the Empire's forces crumbled, the Emperor made one last attempt to hold on to power. He ordered what was left of his fleet to regroup at Zethar, hoping to crush the largest of the rebellions and restore order. But even this effort failed. The fleet, once the most feared in the galaxy, was now a shadow of its former self, and as it tried to consolidate its strength, it was attacked by a coalition of rebel forces. The final blow came when a group of former Empire generals, who had grown tired of the Emperor's increasingly desperate decisions, staged a coup. They seized control of the capital, capturing the Emperor and announcing the end of the Galactic Empire. With their leader gone and their military in ruins, the Empire officially collapsed. What had once been an unstoppable force of domination was now nothing more than a fractured collection of planets and warlords, each vying for control in the power vacuum. On Earth, there was relief but also uncertainty. The threat of the Empire was gone, but the galaxy was now in chaos. Former Empire-controlled planets were reaching out to Earth, asking for guidance, protection, and alliances. Humanity had become a symbol of hope, but they also faced the challenge of navigating this new unstable galaxy. As the dust settled, one thing became clear: the Galactic Empire was no more. Earth had not only survived, but had played a key role in its downfall. The galaxy would never be the same again, and humanity's place in it was forever changed. They were no longer just another species. They were now a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy had taken notice. A new era. The fall of the Galactic Empire was the beginning of a new chapter for the galaxy, and humanity stood at the heart of it. With the Empire's grip broken, the galaxy was in chaos, but for the first time in centuries, there was hope. Planets that had lived under the shadow of oppression were now free to govern themselves. Civilizations long silenced by the Empire's tyranny found their voices once again. And Earth, the planet that had sparked this revolution, was now looked upon as a leader. In the aftermath of the Empire's collapse, Earth's leaders gathered to discuss the future. They knew that the galaxy, now free from the Empire, would need guidance and protection. But they also knew that humanity had to be careful. Earth had emerged victorious, but they did not want to replace one tyranny with another. The goal wasn't to become conquerors, but to help rebuild and create a peaceful, united galaxy. General Morgan, who had led Earth's defense against the Empire, spoke to the Council in a quiet, determined voice. "We fought hard to protect our planet and our people, but now the galaxy is looking to us for more than just strength. They want leadership, and they trust us because we've shown we won't be ruled by fear. We must not become like the Empire." The Council agreed. Earth's role would not be as a new empire, but as a partner to the many worlds now seeking freedom. A new alliance was proposed, one built on mutual respect and cooperation. The vision was simple: a galaxy where no single power ruled, where planets could choose their own destinies, but where they stood united against threats like the old Empire. Meanwhile, on planets across the galaxy, the aftermath of the Empire's fall was both exhilarating and daunting. Many worlds, after years of oppression, were struggling to rebuild their societies. Some planets, long stripped of their resources by the Empire, needed help with food, medicine, and infrastructure. Others were dealing with power struggles, as local leaders vied for control in the absence of the Empire's rule. In the outer rim of the galaxy, on a small planet called Sirian, the people celebrated their first day of freedom. Sirian had been a mining colony, exploited for its rare minerals by the Empire. Now, the people were taking back control, but they needed help. Earth, alongside other liberated planets, sent aid ships to provide assistance in rebuilding. Supplies, engineers, and doctors arrived, showing the people of Sirian that they were not alone. For many planets like Sirian, this new era was a time of healing and renewal. They had been oppressed for so long that they barely remembered what freedom felt like. Now, with the help of Earth and the newly formed alliance of free planets, they could rebuild their societies without fear of the Empire's return. But not everyone was content with the new order. Scattered remnants of the Empire still existed, led by warlords and former commanders who refused to accept the Empire's fall. These rogue factions caused trouble across the galaxy, launching raids on vulnerable planets and trying to reclaim some of the old power they had lost. It was clear that though the Empire had fallen, the galaxy was far from completely peaceful. Earth, along with its allies, quickly realized that they needed to form a defense force to protect the free planets from these remnants of the Empire. It wasn't enough to simply win the war. They had to secure the peace. In response, a fleet of ships from various planets, including Earth, was assembled. This fleet, known as the United Galactic Defense Force, was tasked with patrolling the galaxy and defending against any threats that might arise. Captain Avery, the hero who had led the strike against the Imperator, was chosen to command the fleet. With Earth's advanced technology and the support of other planets, the fleet was a symbol of unity, a reminder that no planet would have to face the remnants of the Empire alone. Avery's fleet quickly became a force for good, driving back rogue warlords and securing peace in regions that had been plagued by violence. As time passed, the galaxy began to stabilize. The alliance of free planets grew stronger, and new trade routes were established. Cultural exchange flourished, with Earth at the center of it all. Human music, art, and technology spread to distant worlds, and in return, Earth embraced the diversity of the galaxy's many civilizations. The galaxy was no longer divided by fear and control, but by cooperation and shared progress. On Earth, the people watched with pride as their planet, once isolated and vulnerable, became a beacon of hope and unity. Humanity had proven its strength, not just in battle, but in its ability to lead and build a better future. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where freedom, peace, and cooperation replaced oppression and fear. And while the threat of the old empire might never be fully gone, the lessons learned from the war with the Galactic Empire would ensure that humanity and its allies were always ready to stand together, stronger than ever before. In this new era, Earth and the galaxy were united in a common purpose: to protect the future and never allow the darkness of tyranny to rise again. On Earth, the people watched with pride as their planet, once isolated and vulnerable, became a beacon of hope and unity. Humanity had proven its strength, not just in battle, but in its ability to lead and build a better future. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where freedom, peace, and cooperation replaced oppression and fear. And while the threat of the old empire might never be fully gone, the lessons learned from the war with the Galactic Empire would ensure that humanity and its allies were always ready to stand together, stronger than ever before. In this new era, Earth and the galaxy were united in a common purpose: to protect the future and never allow the darkness of tyranny to rise again. On Earth, the people watched with pride as their planet, once isolated and vulnerable, became a beacon of hope and unity. Humanity had proven its strength, not just in battle, but in its ability to lead and build a better future. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where freedom, peace, and cooperation replaced oppression and fear. And while the threat of the old empire might never be fully gone, the lessons learned from the war with the Galactic Empire would ensure that humanity and its allies were always ready to stand together, stronger than ever before. In this new era, Earth and the galaxy were united in a common purpose: to protect the future and never allow the darkness of tyranny to rise again. On Earth, the people watched with pride as their planet, once isolated and vulnerable, became a beacon of hope and unity. Humanity had proven its strength, not just in battle, but in its ability to lead and build a better future. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where freedom, peace, and cooperation replaced oppression and fear. And while the threat of the old empire might never be fully gone, the lessons learned from the war with the Galactic Empire would ensure that humanity and its allies were always ready to stand together, stronger than ever before. In this new era, Earth and the galaxy were united in a common purpose: to protect the future and never allow the darkness of tyranny to rise again.